What's up, guys? Today we're going to do another Resto Druid video today. We're going to go over Resto Druids 101. I've had a lot of people go, you know, I like your videos, but there's some things I just don't understand. I don't understand some of the terminology, some of the lingo, how some of the spells work. So today what I wanted to do was go through it with you and just show you exactly how to play. And kind of go through just the talent books. I already did the talents, but I'm going to go through kind of like everything that you get as a Resto Druid. We just found out that the new patch 5.04, will be coming out August 28th. So as of August 28th, we'll probably do another video. We'll go through live, we'll go through and kind of check out exactly what's going to be happening until Mists comes out with Druids on the live server. Also, I'm working on getting my Heroic Spine video done as well. And that should be pretty cool as well. Hopefully I'll get that out to you guys as soon as possible. But let's jump into it. Alright, so when you're going through your specs, because this is going to be your new screen. If you start a Druid and you get them up, this is what you're going to have to deal with. You can choose any of the following specs, okay? But for our purposes, we want to go Resto. Now the nice thing about what Blizzard's done is they've kind of given you an overview of kind of what each thing does, okay? Rejuve, this is a dot. Obviously it instantly heals and then it heals the same amount over 10 seconds, okay, so that's a nice dot. Life Bloom, it stacks up to 3 times. This is your dot you keep on your tank. And the nice thing about Mists of Pandaria is now if you have another person who you want to swap those 3 stacks over to, you don't have to cast it 3 times, always 3 GCDs. You can just cast it once and it'll automatically transfer over. Okay, Swift Mend is going to be your little green circle quick heal that heals a lot of raid damage and heals a single target pretty high. And Healing Touch is going to be your meaty, heavy, longer cast heal. Okay, so let's learn that. Let's learn Resto. So it gives us all these spells, guys. There's a couple more down here. Iron Bark. Alright, and we'll go through these. Wild Growth, Wild Mushrooms, and we'll go through all these real quick. But just for the purpose of it, let's move on to talents, okay? Talents, I've already got a video on these. I'm not going to waste your time going through them again. If you haven't seen the video, just check out my channel and it'll be the talent video, obviously. And then glyphs, okay? I have not spent a lot of time about glyphs. Let's talk about those real quick. Okay, our major glyphs, again, you can have 3 choices, so let's go through them real quick. You got the Glyph of Bark Skin, reduce the chance that you'll be critically hit by 25% while Bark Skin is active. That's okay. I don't really use it, but that's okay. Increases the bloom heal of your life bloom when it expires by 50%, but its duration is reduced by 5 seconds, and your Healing Touch, Nourish, and Regrowth abilities no longer refresh the duration. This is called 25-man rating. Here you go. What this is you just pretty much set it and forget it, okay? It'll heal a nice meaty chunk after it expires, and it'll just tick until it explodes. The problem with this is as a good healer, you never really know when you're going to need that kind of big damage, and it's better to just use a Healing Touch than it is to hope that your Life Bloom cancels at the right time. Cyclone, PvP, Dash. This one is pretty good. Reduce the cooldown of your dash by a minute. That's really nice to have in raids, especially when you have feline swiftness. It's nice to have that. Healing Touch. When you cast Healing Touch, the cooldown of your Swift Mend is reduced by 1 second. Look no further, people. We will probably not need anything more than that. That will definitely be making the cut. Innervate. When Innervate is cast on a friendly target other than the caster will gain 10% of maximum mana over 10 seconds. Just for the sake of it, let's open our Spellbook and let's go look and see what Innervate normally does. Okay. Causes the target to regenerate 10% of the caster's maximum mana over 10 seconds. If cast on self, the caster will regenerate an additional 10% of maximum mana over 10 seconds. Nah. It's still better to keep your own Innervates, guys. It really is. You're going to need that extra 10% mana. That's your only mana saver right there. Glyph of Life Bloom. Casting Life Bloom on a new target grants that target as many applications as the old target had. This is the one. This effect will not occur while in Tree of Life form or when Life Bloom has less than 2 seconds remaining. What this means, guys, is pretty much the reason it doesn't work in Tree of Life form is because when you go into Tree of Life form, you can cast as many of these as you want on as many people as you want. It's a huge healing help because it saves a lot of your mana and it heals like a truck. That's the reason they don't do that, or else this glyph would eventually turn just completely worthless. Might have Ursak, increases the health gained by 20%, but increases the cooldown by 2 minutes. We don't need it. Rebirth, resurrects the player with 100% health. Rejuve, when you have Rejuve active on 3 or more targets, the cast time of your Nourish spell is reduced by 30%. We'll go back to that, that's okay. Savage Roar, can now be used with 0 combo points, resulting in a 12-second duration. Skull Bash, increases the duration of your Skull Bash, we don't need. Stampede, again, same thing, we don't care. It's kind of nice to have. You can now cast Stampede Roar without being in bear or cat form, so you can cast it in normal form, which makes everybody run faster, so I could see it having some use. And then there's this one, Wild Growth can affect 1 additional target, but its cooldown is increased by 2 seconds. Obviously for dungeons we won't be taking this. For raids, it becomes a different story. Cat form, don't need. Reduces the mana cost of all shapeshifts by 90%. It's a major glyph, we're not really going to worry about that. Regrowth, increases the critical strike chance of your regrowth by 40%, but removes the periodic component of the spell. I like the periodic component. Normally if you're using regrowth, it's because someone's kind of getting low and you just want to quick get them something. It's nice to have that initial hot ticking on them. It kind of gives you almost a buffer zone. So I wouldn't recommend that one either. And the rest of these are irrelevant for Resto. So let's go back and let's see what we're going to use, okay? We're not going to use that. Healing Touch, definitely going to use. Definitely going to use Healing Touch because the more Swiftmends we can do, the better. Because you got to remember, Swiftmend triggers your efflorescence, which is that little green circle that you see that heals a lot of people. That's huge. That's going to be good for throughput right there. I like to go with Rebirth. I think when you're a healer, you're res, it's so much easier when you res somebody when they come back with 100% health. If you've ever seen those gimped B-reses that DKs do, where they'll come back with like 0% health, and then if a toothpick falls from the sky and hits them in the leg, they die again, and then all you hear is, damn it. And then it's, you know, it's GG at that point. And then I'm taking, for raiding, it's going to be between Rejuve and Wild Growth for me. I'm probably going to go Wild Growth. Again, obviously not for dungeons because it'll affect 5 targets, so you'll be able to heal the entire 5-man. This is the nice thing about being able to switch glyphs in and out, guys. But it's really, it's 2 seconds. And in Firelands, we would cast Wild Growth on every GCD. I mean, we would fire it off. It didn't matter because it was a smart heal. It was going to heal everybody. In a 25-man raid, it was good to go. In a 10-man raid, having it heal that extra person, especially with Swiftmen and with mushrooms, is really going to help. You're not going to need to use it on cooldown every single time. You're just not going to need to do that. Especially when you have so many other tools, so it's going to be nicer to have that extra person that it's hitting as opposed to being able to cast it a little bit quicker. 2 seconds is not going to make or break anybody. Okay, that's like pretty much one cast of Healing Touch. You're not going to hurt yourself by having that. So those are the 3 we're going to go for raid right now. Again, these may change, but let's see these. Now these I think are kind of cool, guys. Your miners are all completely worthless. Reduce the, well, not in cat form. This one we'll definitely take. Okay, guys, Grace we're definitely going to take because we don't. Fall damage is always nice to have a way to get out. Treant teaches you the ability Treant form, shapeshift into. This is still buggy. They pretty much did this. If you want to go back to Wrath of the Lich King days and you be a tree running around healing people, you can. Stag is one I'm definitely going to take, just because that way you can switch into stag form, somebody can quick jump on you, you can get away. It's not, obviously you're not as fast as your mounts in that form, but that's okay. And then, you know, that's pretty much, they're all just worthless. So you can choose whatever one you want. Okay? So those are going to be the glyphs for now. And this is what you get now in your Spellbook, and this is what I wanted to go over too. And this is really kind of, they split it up so that your Balance, your Feral, your Guardian, and your Resto. So you get all of these in Resto, and let's go through them, because now we don't have our talent trees, okay? So Hibernate, again, we're going to sleep people. Maim, we don't... See, a lot of these guys are for, like, you know, PvP, so I'm going to kind of go through them. Hibernate, obviously, is your sleep. You probably will use that eventually. Innervate gets you your mana back on a 3-minute cooldown. Mark of the Wild is your buff. Iron Bark is a new talent that we get, which is a 20% damage reduction, all damage taken. Okay, so that's a nice cooldown to have that you can put on a tank. And keep in mind too that we also have our own. This is not replacing Bark Skin. This is that one that we can give out. Okay, this is a nice one to have on a 2-minute cooldown. Might of Ursak, we don't care. Light Bloom, again, this is your hots. This is what you want to keep on your tank at all times. Moonfire is your DPS. Nature's Cure, they put this as no longer a talent. Obviously, they just give you a Dispel now. So Druids who didn't want to spec into it, now we don't have a choice. We get it anyway, so we can't make the excuse. Rebirth is your battle res. Nature's Grasp. Obviously, if someone attacks you and you have this active, it'll root them. This is mainly PvP. Regrowth, that quick bam 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 heal. Nourish. Nourish is going to be your cheap free heal. And again, look, if you have a regrowth, a rejuve, or a life bloom, it'll heal for 20% harder, so that'll be nice to just pretty much, if we have nothing better to do, we're spamming Nourish on our tank that has life bloom on him, because it's going to be healing him harder. Rejuve, again, that's your dot that you just go and put on people, set it and forget it pretty much. Prowl we have, which is nice. This is our normal res. Revive. Trank, obviously our big cooldown. Heals everybody for a lot. Wild Growth, we kind of discussed. Symbiosis, okay, you get this at level 87, but this is the one that they're still working on, what exactly you get and everything else. Obviously, you have your mushrooms, which go out and heal. You set them, and then you detonate them. Wrath is another DPS. And the rest of these are pretty much passive. Our Mastery still stays the same, guys. Mastery is going to be really, really good in Mists, okay? It's going to be the same stat weights. You're going to have haste to your breakpoint, and then you're going to be stacking Mastery, because I would rather have a heal that's X% bigger, and I know it's going to be X% bigger because of my Mastery and my math, instead of hoping that my crit hits and it hits for a bunch. I don't want to do that. I would rather have the Mastery every time. And they put Swift Rejuve into our automatic talents now, so we can cast Rejuve very, very quickly. Like Rapid Renew for Priests, it's the same thing. It's just this way you can cast a lot faster. The GCD is reduced. It really helps out a lot. But those are the talents, guys, and the glyphs. We went through the Spellbook a little bit. Obviously, you know, there's probably some stuff that we went over a little bit too quickly, but for the main part, I just wanted to go into the beta and show you exactly what we're going to be getting in 2 weeks. Keep in mind that some of these won't happen until Mist comes out, like Symbiosis. We won't get our level 90 talents, but it'll be really cool to be able to play around in LFR and 10-man rating, in heroic rating, and see how much further some people get. I remember at the end of Wrath, a lot of people got very overpowered very quickly when we had the new talents come out. It was a lot of fun. Everybody kind of re-found the game for themselves, and everybody had a really good time. So we look forward to seeing you. And again, like and subscribe, guys, and we'll see you next week.